No way! James shouts, his voice breaking with shock, eyes fixed on the phone screen, then collapses onto the armchair as if all strength has left him. The cat, with an angry meow, jumps out from under its owner fur, puffed up like it was startled. Get out of the way, buddy. This is serious. He brings the phone closer to his eyes, muttering a small curse voice, trembling, then zooms in on the image. Outside the window, Seattle's rain falls steadily, making the room gloomier. The cat turns away, looking disappointed. In truth, Buddy never really gets mad at his owner, but he has to show some displeasure. James picked him up when he was a tiny, shivering, hungry, and nearly frozen creature in a cold Seattle alley beside a waterlogged dumpster. He cared for him and kept him in the house. Buddy feels lucky, except for one thing that bothers his endless happiness. His fur is the exact same color as his owner's armchair. That really annoys him. Like fate is mocking him, James presses the phone to his ear, listening to the long rings, heart pounding like a drum. He knows she probably hasn't gone to bed, but maybe she left her phone in the kitchen and doesn't hear it. Hello, she answers clearly, her voice ringing like a ray of light in the dark, making James marvel again at her youthful energy. Grandma, it's me, James. Is something wrong with you? Me, I'm fine, Jimmy. What's the matter? Then why are you selling the teapot? The silver cups and plates and the necklace, Grandma, do you need money? Why didn't you call me? The other end goes silent so long, James thinks the connection dropped, as if some secret is about to explode. Grandma Jimmy. Her voice is full of guilt, like she's been caught doing something wrong. It's been 15 years I don't have the teapot, or anything. I didn't want to tell you, my good boy. You see, Emily, what does she have to do with it? James is surprised, a chill running down his spine. Why mention his ex-wife? When Emily left you, she and Sophie came to my house to say goodbye. She said many bad things about you, Jimmy, her voice cold as a knife full of resentment, and I didn't pay attention. You know, breakups are always hard, especially for women. But after she left, all those items disappeared, and you didn't say anything. Why, Grandma? Because... She sighs, her voice heavy, as if carrying the burden of the past. You were already suffering enough. Why pour more oil on the fire? After all, they were just small things. Maybe Emily needed them more. Small things. A woman living on meager social security, barely enough for food or heat, says that James and his brother take turns visiting her every week, bringing big bags of groceries. They always check if she has enough warm blankets and food through Seattle's cold winters. But maybe a generous soul has nothing to do with money. You're a saint, Grandma, he says gently, eyes stinging with emotion. Go to sleep. I'll call again tomorrow. So it's Emily. For 15 years, he hasn't heard that name, even convincing himself he never had a wife or daughter in his life. As if he locked those painful memories in a deep corner covered in the dust of time. It was all just a dream of a foolish 20-year-old guy from long ago. They married early, almost couldn't wait until their 18th birthdays. Or did they wait? A questionable matter. Because by their parents' wedding day, Sophie was already kicking in her mother's belly, and 2 months later, she was born. Sophie, James grimaces, as if an invisible knife stabs straight into his heart. His daughter, his lovely rosy-cheeked girl, her curly light-colored hair like flax, her deep eyes. He's never seen eyes like that in his life, never. The warmth from her tiny body as she slept on her father's lap, her steady breaths like a gentle lullaby. Sophie was still in diapers, and James was already dreaming of the day she'd grow up when they'd stroll together in Pike Place Park among the colorful stalls and the rich coffee smell. She'd scream with joy seeing real ponies ride every ride, and he'd buy her ice cream and sweet strawberry milkshakes watching her smile brightly under the summer sun. Along with those memories, a wave of resentment toward his ex-wife rises, drowning his soul. How dare she decide for everyone? In one day she packed, took their child, and disappeared. He tried so hard to find them. Called, wrote letters, even hired a private detective, but all in vain. Now he learns Emily took his grandma's items, things that by chance or fate caught his eye. Or is fate making him face the past? James looks closely at the photo of the copper teapot. Old, probably 100 years old. Grandma said it went through the Great Depression when the whole country was sunk in poverty and despair. On holidays, she polished the teapot until it shone looking new, if not for 2 noticeable scratches on its round body and wide handle. No, this isn't a similar item. This is Grandma's teapot, message seller. The button glows green at the bottom of the item description. James quickly types a short message: I want to buy the teapot, the silver cups and plates, and the necklace. I can come pick them up anytime convenient for you. The reply comes instantly. Meet at 6 p.m. tomorrow at Bean and Brew Pine Street Corner. Regards, Emily. Emily. Her name cuts like a blade, reviving old pain. The cat jumps onto his lap, rubbing its head against his sleeve affectionately. It's probably tired of pretending to be angry. See, this is serious, James mutters, scratching behind the cat's ears. I just want to see Sophie. How is she? And buy back those items to make Grandma happy. What do you think, Buddy? The cat snorts, curling into a warm ball. Its real name is Romeo, but somehow the owner keeps calling it the ordinary name, Buddy. Maybe because that name makes him feel less lonely. Humans are strange. James recognizes Emily from afar. She quickly crosses the street from the bus stop, her hair shining under the yellow streetlights, rushing toward the cafe. She looks great, slim figure, trendy haircut. Still has the lightness of her teenage years. Women like her always have plenty of suitors, no surprise. She steps into the cafe, looking around clearly, her first time here, her eyes slightly anxious as if searching for something. It's strange why choose an unfamiliar place to meet a buyer. James stands up, waving from his seat, heart beating faster as she approaches. Emily, I'm here. For some reason, he can't call her Em. Though she was once his wife, that was so long ago. James? Is it you? She's stunned, eyes wide, hands gripping her bag tightly. Are you following us? If I wanted to meet you, I would have... Calm down. He smiles, though inside he's a mess. Nobody's following anybody, it's just a coincidence. And I really want to buy those items. But first, how's Sophie? When her daughter's name is mentioned, Emily beams with a smile, relaxing a bit, but her eyes still show a hint of caution. She's grown a lot. Last February, she turned 14. I know. She nods. Yes, 14. James, you must know I took those items from your grandma. You mean you think I stole them? Don't say that, he asks, voice lowering to hide his emotions. I have to. She softly taps the table, a fierce gesture. The dozing server near the counter startles awake, rushing to their table. Lemon tea for me and the lady. Em, what do you want to order? Just a glass of water, nothing else. James, listen to me. All those items belong to my family. He raises an eyebrow. Emily hurries to continue, voice trembling, as if trying to hold back a wave of emotions. Before the Great Depression, my great-grandfather was a rich man. He had a big mansion near Seattle with wide gardens and ornate iron gates. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it burned down, leaving only ashes and ruined walls. My great-grandfather, great-grandmother, and 2 daughters had to live cramped in that burned house. And it was a cold winter wind howling through the gaps like it wanted to swallow the whole family. They searched for anything left after the fire, anything that could be burned to keep warm. Books, furniture. When robbers, those who took advantage of the Depression's chaos, came, everyone was miserable. Later, I heard expensive rosewood furniture was burned for heat, and jewelry was traded for food, gold diamonds for a piece of bread, a handful of flour. Can you imagine? I can't. For me, it's like a horror story, but that was their reality. I don't know what they hoped for. Maybe they didn't know either. They just went to sleep every night, happy to be alive, shivering under torn blankets. The next morning, they didn't know if they'd live till evening. And then when there was almost nothing left in the house, a gang of robbers showed up. They called themselves populists, shouting about justice, but they were just thieves. Those vultures took the last things, the copper teapot, the necklace. my great-grandfather's wedding gift to his wife and the solid silver cups and plates. The result? She stops, eyes welling with tears. They pushed the family to the edge of starvation. My great-grandmother decided they had to leave the house immediately to a big city like Chicago, even if they had to walk. There was still a chance to survive there. They had to go through the forest because the main roads were too dangerous. In the forest, gunshots rang out constantly like roars of death. Only my great-grandmother and her 2 daughters made it to the city. My great-grandfather. A stray bullet hit a tree, ricocheted, and that was it. The only man in the family. One of the 2 girls got frostbite and a bad fever so sick it seemed she wouldn't survive, only saved by a miracle. There were kind people who helped, gave them shelter, helped them recover, even found some medicine. But that was just luck. They could have met no one. Or not been helped. Really, I was told this story since I was little, you understand. Then I saw all those items at your grandma's house, and I decided we couldn't live together anymore. What? James is so shocked he nearly drops his cup. Tea splashes on the table. The server near the counter is asleep again, so James grabs a napkin to wipe his hands, shaking from the shock. I loved you, James, Emily says calmly, but her voice chokes slightly. Really loved you and planned to live with you forever. But everything changed in one day. I understand, he mutters, trying to hide the pain rising inside. She signals him not to interrupt. That day you were busy at the company your grandma needed medicine. Remember you called, asked me to bring it to her. I brought Sophie along and took a taxi to your grandma's through Seattle's rainy streets. Your grandma invited me for tea and she showed me everything. The teapot, the cups, the necklace. James, I looked and thought your great-grandfather stole from my family. Stole and left them to starve, to freeze in the winter. I realized I couldn't live with you anymore. The next day I waited till you went to work, quickly packed. No need to continue. He sighs, voice low, as if trying to hold back a storm of emotions. So our ancestors had a fight and we have to clean it up. Emily looks up, eyes brimming with tears as if the whole world is weighing on her shoulders. I'm sorry things turned out like this, James. Really, I'm very sorry. I planned to sell it all so I wouldn't have to remember. It's too heavy. Memories of robbery, survival, and my family falling apart. She taps her nails on the table, a rapid rhythm like her chaotic heartbeat. James gently places his hand on hers. I didn't think I'd say this, he admits, but I understand you, and I sympathize. You went through a nightmare. Yes. Emily, no longer hiding, bursts into tears. Tears roll down her cheeks, dripping into the glass of water in front of her, creating small ripples like her pain spreading. Here, take this. He hands her a napkin. I want to ask you, Em, come with me to see Grandma and you tell her everything. She's getting old. Okay. She wipes her tears, then repeats, voice firmer. Okay, we can go right now. Emily. Grandma is shocked, eyes wide, her trembling hand touching the doorframe, but she quickly calms down. I'm so glad you came. You're even prettier. Tell me how's Sophie, Grandma? James holds his wife's hand tightly, as if afraid she'll disappear again. Emily has something to tell. Let's sit down. Grandma listens, not interrupting. At first, James is surprised because Grandma, always so hospitable, doesn't offer Emily tea, but then he understands you can't pour tea when someone's telling a story like that. Emily finishes, eyes wet again. Grandma pats her shoulder, a gentle but strong gesture from someone who's overcome so much hardship. I didn't think to tell you the whole story, Emily. Grandma sighs. I don't know why I didn't think of it. The thing is, dear, my father didn't steal from your family, though he knew the thief. What? Briefly, she replies, but maybe I should start from the beginning. That winter. That terrible winter of the Great Depression, Emily. More horrifying than you imagine. Cold everywhere, winds screaming like they wanted to tear everything apart, but we were afraid to go into the forest for firewood. Gunshots rang out constantly, and going on the road was easy to get into trouble. Robbers, those wandering in desperate poverty, were everywhere best to avoid them. We ate frozen potatoes. Just that. Then when the potatoes ran out, we starved freezing for 2 days, but too scared to go outside. I heard my mother secretly tell my father to stay home, her voice trembling with fear. She said if he got killed, the whole family would be done for. A woman with kids, what could she do? How to protect? Where to get food? My father listened to my mother, but one day passed, then another, and it was clear that just being afraid meant waiting to die. So my father said he'd go into the forest, see if he could hunt anything. My mother cried in fear, we kids cried too, but he took his gun, didn't look back, and stepped outside. He couldn't stand sitting still watching us starve, our eyes sunken from hunger. I remember we watched him from the window, silently saying goodbye to him forever. He came back late and told everything, his voice hoarse from what he'd seen. He saw blood tracks on the snow, so he followed, thinking maybe someone was still alive, someone he could help. The blood led to a wounded man, but he couldn't be saved anymore. He was dying blood, soaking the white snow red. That man was a robber separated from his gang. They had gone to a burned-out mansion nearby, but didn't steal much and got shot at by the owner. My great-grandfather, Emily whispers, voice choking as if the past is coming alive before her eyes. Maybe so, dear, Grandma nods. The robber died right after. My father searched his pockets, found the teapot, the necklace, and the silver cups and plates. My father was an honest man. He went to the mansion to return them, but there was no one left. The owners had left no one to give them back to. My father returned, and luck smiled. He hunted a deer. Back then, that was a miracle. Meat meant food, meant survival. He said the deer just stepped out, its legs trembling, eyes cloudy from hunger and pain. It was so weak, barely standing, already hit by a few stray bullets. Probably no one aimed at it, but back then the forest was full of gunfire. My father didn't need to shoot. Just a hunting knife was enough. We escaped starvation, and the items that couldn't be returned stayed with the family. That's the whole story, Emily. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. Maybe you wouldn't have left James. Emily shakes her head, lips trembling as if struggling with herself. Grandma, I'm the one who's sorry because I didn't ask clearly about everything. Back then I was like crazy, couldn't think straight. No one blames you. Grandma smiles, a warm smile like a flame warming the whole room. You were young and youth is hasty. Don't torment yourself, dear. Grandma's right. James sits close to his wife, hugging her shoulders tightly, as if wanting to keep this moment forever. Young people make mistakes easily, Em. What's important is now we understand each other. Sophie is so much like you, Emily says, a slight smile breaking through the tears. Also loves antiques. Her room is full of those things, though mostly fake antiques because she hasn't earned money to buy real ones, and she wants to learn programming. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, James? He laughs loudly, the first laugh of the day, like it chases away the clouds in his heart. Like father, like daughter. No surprise. Can I meet her, Em? I always think about how she's grown. Of course. She promises, voice gentle, like opening a new door. But let her part with her cat first. Imagine she brought home a cat full of fleas, skinny as bones. Terrible. I thought it wouldn't survive. But Sophie took care of it, bathed it, fed it, now it won't leave her side. I have a cat too, the same story. But surely not named Romeo. Who said it's not? James is stunned, then laughs a laugh mixed with joy and longing for Sophie. Sophie. His little Sophie. You know, he says I always wanted to stroll with her, take her on rides, eat ice cream. Emily hooks her arm through his. It's still not too late. She smiles a smile like sunshine breaking through Seattle's rain. You know how much she'd like that? The sky darkens, summer stars twinkling here and there like faint hopes in the darkness. James gathers all his courage. Sophie, does she have a stepfather yet? No, she answers casually. I haven't looked either, you know. My house is here. Look. She points up my window, 4th floor. Sophie's asleep, the lights off. Emily turns to face him, her eyes sparkling under the streetlights like she's torn between the past and the future. Thank you for walking me home. And thank you for everything. Can I call you tomorrow? James asks, heart pounding, afraid she'll close the door that just opened. What if she refuses? What if she says something like, thank you, but now each of us should live our own life? He almost regrets asking, but Emily smiles and nods that smile like a promise for a brighter tomorrow. Till tomorrow, she whispers, then runs into the building, her figure disappearing behind the glass door, leaving James standing quietly under the drizzling rain.